How were you recruited to work on 321 Penguins in the day?
Well, recruited is not really the right words. Jeff Parker, Nathan Carlson, and I started Jungle Jam and Friends, the radio show. And Jungle Jam itself existed before my involvement with it. It does all relate back to Odyssey. Jeff and Nathan both worked on Odyssey. Jeff very briefly. He did one episode, I think. So Odyssey was in motion. Jeff started working at Focus on the Family. Nathan also started working on Odyssey, playing Richard Maxwell and some other parts before that. Kind of all at the same time, we just sort of converged. And when we found out that we had a lot of things in common, Jeff and Nathan were doing something. We're doing Jungle Jam itself on record albums. We were all together and we were talking about what to do. And so I said, why don't you take Jungle Jam, turn it into a radio show? And they said, okay, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, what do we do? How do we go about doing that? And so we started meeting together and talking, and we had a blast. We started doing some great stuff, had a really, really good time. Meanwhile, VeggieTales is going like crazy. That's big idea stuff. It's the flavor du jour. A bunch of college kids really love the silly songs, and that's what made VeggieTales actually work,
Right.
actually take off. And so it got really big. And then at some point, Phil Vischer, who created VeggieTales, got sick. He got very, very sick, and he ended up in the hospital. And so everybody around him was saying, if we're going to maintain this, and because Phil was the one who understood VeggieTales better than anybody else, if we're going to maintain this company, this big idea company, we need more product. We need something else. We need other things that are going on. So there was a lot of talks. I will spare you the gory details, but there were a lot of talks that went back and forth between us because they contacted us.
Mhm.
So we really liked for you guys to create something for us. And so we went back and forth. They wanted Jungle Jam, but we didn't want to give up Jungle Jam to them. So we went back and forth and said we'll create a brand new series. It gets a lot more sordid than this, but I'll spare you the gory details. This is contracts, and it was claims made on property, and blah. It just went back and forth for the longest time. In order to get sort of separated from Big Idea, we agreed to make a new series for them. And then that would be it. That would be the fulfillment of anything that we were going to do. And so we started talking, and we came up with 321 Penguins. And so we created it, and we created the premise, actually wrote, because we were all really busy. I took the bulk of the writing on that one and wrote 12 scripts for them. And they only used the first one. They didn't use any of the other ones, I don't think. So, but that fulfilled our contract. That fulfilled all of our stuff. So then we could concentrate on Little Dogs in the Prairie. But those 12 scripts are floating around somewhere. I don't know where they are, but they're floating around somewhere. They were a lot of fun too. I had a lot of fun writing those things, but I don't think they were ever used.
You got me really curious though, as other 11 are.